Hello, everybody. This is Kristi Casey Sanders. I am coming to you live from Atlanta. This is a presentation for my Canadian friends in SATW. So, hi. I'm a member of the Eastern chapter, so it is very, very delightful to be able to share with you some tech tips and things like that today. If you want to be asking me questions live during this broadcast, then the easiest way is to use the Q&A button. So you should see a little button either at the top left-hand corner of the screen or along the bottom. If you push that, what will happen is you'll see a viewing box pop up. And then on the column, you'll be able to ask questions. So you scroll down to the bottom, you type in your question, you hit enter, and I'll see it on my end. So if you're logged into Google, that is the easiest way. If you have a Google account, but you're not logged into Google, and you can tell if you are by looking and seeing if it has your name up in the corner, then you may want to do that if you want to ask questions throughout this presentation or give me feedback, because there's also an applause app. So you can push a button and I hear it. So if you are viewing and if you do want to ask questions live, then I would love for you to go ahead and practice. Hit that Q&A button and just type in where you're viewing from. And that way I'll be able to see it and I can engage with you and say hello and give you a shout out. If you are not logged into Google, or if you're more of a Twitter person, you can also tweet questions to me live. Use @PYMLive and just tweet those out to me, and I'll be checking on HootSuite and on my phone for those questions as well. If you're watching this on demand and didn't get a chance to tune in while we were all together for the live broadcast, then you can go ahead and enter in comments either on the YouTube video page or on this event page, and I'll be able to answer those after the session. So thank you very much for joining me. While I'm waiting to see if anybody wants to go ahead and use that Q&A button, feel free to ask me questions at any time. You don't have to wait. I will go ahead and start to share my screen and begin with the presentation. So here we go. Great. So smarter, faster, more efficient. It's more than just a pretentious title. It's a necessity in this day and time. I know the majority of you are writers, you're PR professionals, so you are kind of sharing your time with a lot of different masters, whether you're internally trying to deal with people remotely, or whether you are writing freelance for lots of different people, or if you're an editor and you're managing lots of different freelancers. So those are things that I've done. So these are all tools that I've learned kind of just to simplify my own life, which is why I love sharing it with other people. I wanted to give a little shout out to Graham Bell from Victoria, BC. And oh, Lori Carter, thanks for telling me. She said that she's just testing out the question function. I'm looking good. So that's awesome. So thank you all for playing with that. So now you know it can work, so you can communicate with me. And I love hearing from you what your pain points are, if something is useful, if you have a question about something, how it works. So don't be shy. Or if you're one of those people who has to kind of process things and then respond after, don't worry about asking comments afterwards. I always respond. So what I'm going to be sharing today fall into 5 different buckets. The first bucket are communication tools. So it's communication and collaboration tools, actually. And then the second is project time management. Then I'll talk a little bit about some travel tools, some travel apps. For those of you who are in charge of social media, whether it's on the PR side or whether you're a writer or an editor and tasked with increasing exposure, we're going to talk a little bit about some social media hacks. And then I have some digital storytelling tools, because I think it's really, really important, especially for our travel writers, to understand that there's nothing really holding you back from being a digital storyteller using multiple platforms, video and pictures and ebooks and all those kind of new technologies that have popped up. You actually have all the skills you need to be an efficient storyteller. And I think that sometimes with all the technology that comes up, it gets very, very easy to get overwhelmed by what the options are. So, so I'm going to give you just some digital storytelling tools so that you can go ahead and become your own producer. You can go ahead and become your own graphic designer as you need to, as the demands from editors become more multi-platform. And then these are also all things that, you know, whether you're a writer or a PR person, you know, I think in these buckets, there are things that you might find useful. Please don't feel like you have to try everything. My goal is that you walk away with at least 5 things that are going to be useful for you today. So let's talk a little bit about communication. I think the biggest waste of time, and you can go ahead and chime in if you agree, is email. You know, I like to, when I think about my happy place and what would help me maintain my sanity, I think of a world without email. And so there are a lot of tools you can use now, whether it's sending versions of a story back and forth, whether it's, you know, having multiple people comment on a press release, that you can be using that can eliminate that email stream and make it more efficient. My favorite tool actually is sanebox.com. This actually helps cut down drastically on the amount of email that you receive, because we all have newsletters that we signed up for and we don't remember what they are for anymore, or, you know, there are pitches that you may want to filter out a little bit, or there might be, you know, people that aren't as important as other people. And so what sanebox.com does is it has like a 2-week free trial. If you decide that you do like it and you can't live without it, it's $5 a month. So it analyzes everything in your email inbox, and it determines the people and the type of content that you respond to, and the people and the type of content that you ignore. And so it puts the most important images, like messages, in your inbox, and then everybody else gets put in a sane later box. So that if you're out all, you know, for 3 days visiting a new destination, or if you are on site with a client, when you check your email, you don't have 300 emails that are waiting for you demanding your attention. You have 5. For me, this has been a huge lifesaver. And people, the most frequent question I get about this is, well, what if they put, you know, emails that I really want in the same later box and I can't see it? Well, then you just train it. You just drag that email into your inbox, and then they'll start to come into your inbox. Or vice versa. If something slipped through and you really don't want to see it, you can put it into a sane later box. And my favorite tool that goes with the sane box is there's a sane box black hole. So if there's someone like a crazy aunt that you never want to hear from again, all you do is you pick it up and you drag it to the black hole, and then you never see it again. So this has saved so much time, and I've actually found myself, and those of you on the PR side might, or the editors might appreciate this more than the writers, but there are actually days where, you know, I'm so used to reflexively checking in and checking in and checking in, and there's so few important emails that I have so much time to do other stuff. It's amazing. Google Drive. It's drive.google.com, or you can just Google Google Drive and you'll be able to start it. This is a free collaboration platform. It actually allows you, so for example, if you're a writer and you have a story that you have to submit to an editor, you can share a link with the editor, and then it doesn't matter whether you're working with a Macintosh and they're on a PC. You can track all the changes, you can see all the comments. If you're a PR person and you have like a press release that has to go to multiple decision makers for your client, same thing. You just send a link, and then if you require them to sign in, you can see who signed in and who didn't. If you don't require a sign-in, then it can just be anonymous, but I like to track it. So for example, this is a timeline for an event, but I've used this also in planning our chapter meetings. So what'll happen is, you know, we have an RFP for destinations, and I'll put it up there and I'll invite all of the board members to go and give me commentary. And then I know exactly when everyone's seen it. I know exactly when everyone's done. And there's none of this sending a document out saying, what do you think? And then hearing back from 2 or 3 people instantly with different changes, different opinions, and then not hearing from, you know, 3 or 5 people, and then getting everything together and thinking you have a final version, and then Bob comes back with like one last change. So Google Drive is phenomenal for eliminating that. You can use it for Word documents, you can use it for presentations, you can use it for spreadsheets, you can use it for web forms and surveys and all sorts of different applications. And what's great is that when you export it, you can export it in any kind of format that's compatible across platforms. So it doesn't matter if somebody is, Mac versus PC, or they don't have the, latest software update. Big time saver. Another huge time saver is Doodle.com. I use this all the time when I have to schedule meetings. So you can actually create a professional version of Doodle.com where, and I'm not quite sure about the price on that, but this is generally a free tool. Most of the tools I'm going to talk about are free, just because I feel like, the software people like you to have the basic tools for free, and then if you need something extra to then kind of upcharge you. But for writers and for PR people, the majority of these things are things that you could use and not have to pay anything for. Doodle.com, excuse me, is fantastic for scheduling meetings. So if I just want to get maybe like 5 people together, we want to have a conference call, I send out a link with some potential days, and then everybody puts in what days are good for you, and then you know when everyone's replied, and then you have the date, everyone said they can make it, and so you can just go ahead and schedule it. There's none of this back and forth and like, oh, well, on Tuesday I got to pick up my kids, or on Wednesday I got to do this. So Doodle.com, if you want the pro version, then it actually syncs with your calendars. And then when somebody says, hey, when are you available to talk, you can send them the link to your Doodle calendar. They can submit 3 possible dates and times, you accept it, and then you create the calendar event. When you're actually getting together and talking to people, I used to rely on freeconferencecall.com a lot, and I still like it. We still use it for some things. I think where it breaks down is it's only really good for people in the United States. So, for example, when I was helping create the chapter meeting, the one that we just had in Atlantic City, I couldn't call my Canadian but I could call them for free on uberconference.com. I think the benefits are, first of all, it's free. Second of all, there's a website version so that you can actually see when people are calling in, where they're calling in from, or what number they're calling in from. It gives you like a little website link. It also gives you a phone number. You can sync it to Google Hangouts so that if you're meeting with people in a video conference, but somebody can't make it, they're only going to have a phone, you can call them using Uber Conference app on Hangouts and bring them into the conference. They also have an app, so if I have to call somebody internationally, I can have an Uber conference with them from my cell phone without it being on my data network. So wonderful for international conferences and calls and that kind of thing. Dropbox.com. So, if you're editing video or if you're collecting assets from clients, Dropbox.com is a real lifesaver. When I was speaking at the Atlantic City conference, one of the PR people said, my designer keeps on telling me to get on Dropbox.com and I don't know how. So basically, I'm going to break it down for you guys. If you're not already on it, you just go to Dropbox.com and then create a free account. And you get an X amount of storage, and then for everybody you bring into it, you get more. This is best for sharing files. So not necessarily for collaborating on a file and getting different versions of it, but if you need to, move a video over, or if you have an assignment where they wanted pictures and a story and some video content and some sound files, you can put it all in a Dropbox and share the link with them, or send them an email so they can access it, or share the folder. It used to be that things had to be in a folder, and then you had to go to the website, and then you had to share that folder specifically. But now you can just put in a file and then go to the website, and then to the right of the file name, it has a little link, and you just click that, and that'll allow you to either copy and paste the link or to invite people to come in and see it. Another great collaboration tool is Google Hangouts, which is what we are on right now. It's great for just fast, free video conferencing. Right now, I'm sharing my screen. There are also interactive apps so that you can, go ahead and, if you wanted to brainstorm and draw on something or work on a spreadsheet together, it allows you to do that as well. So it's fantastic if you're working with someone remotely, or if you have a bunch of team members that are in different cities. And another great tool for it is it's a fantastic webinar platform. So that's what we're using it for today. It's instantly being archived on my YouTube channel. And so, I don't have to pay a hosting fee. I don't have to worry about mixing this in post and then putting it up somewhere. It's a fantastic PR tool that I don't think a lot of PR people are really taking advantage of. It's also fantastic for the writers, because if you're an expert in something, like for example, if you're an expert in gay travel or mountain hiking or whatever it is, you can have weekly hangouts with your fans, and then you can embed it on your blog, and you can, put your links in there. And so it helps not only with SEO, because it's operated by Google, so any link you put into it is being indexed. It's also going to be hosted on the second largest search network, which is YouTube. So it's a fantastic tool for collaboration and also for promotion. That was really quick. Do you guys have any questions about some of the communication and collaboration tools that I was talking about before we move on? The next segment is going to be about project management. I'm going to go ahead and just click over to my HootSuite and see if anybody was tweeting, see if there are any kind of question answers. So if you guys were joining me late, I know some of you did sign on a little later, you can go ahead and hit the Q&A button. And if you are logged into Google, you can just ask me questions directly. I'm going to refresh the events page and see if there's anybody that had to type in a comment. Okay, so I'm going to go on. So project management. These are some ways to keep yourself on track or keep somebody else on track. So let me know if you are more interested in managing teams or if it's more just, for yourself. Anydo. It's kind of a weird looking website, but this is my favorite app for time and project management for myself personally. So it's not really for managing teams, but if you are, just need to be like, okay, I need to file my taxes, I need to return this phone call, I need to post this story, I need to call this person. It's fantastic. You can assign times, you can snooze the alerts, you can, and it gives you little rewards and incentives for every task you cross off. So it's got a really nice interface. You can either enter things on the desktop if that's where you're more familiar, or you can operate it off of an app on your phone or your tablet. If you have to manage teams, Asana.com is something that a lot of my friends in the meeting planning world swear by, because it allows you to coordinate projects between 1 and 15 team members for no money, absolutely free. It also syncs with Google Drive. So if you are somebody who uses Google Docs for your word processing, for sharing spreadsheets and that kind of thing, it's fantastic because you can attach those files to a to-do, assign it to a team member, and when they make their edits, you don't have to download the document, change it, re-upload it, and then they download a final version. The most current version is right there. It also allows you to have different steps in a task, so you can see the timeline. It's 20% finished, 80% finished, and my favorite thing about Asana is that you can actually email to you can go into your email and say that somebody wants you to touch base with them in 2 weeks. You can actually forward that and create a to-do directly from your email inbox, which saves a tremendous amount of time. For other groups, if you're more of, actually, this is something that's really cool too, especially for those of you who are transitioning into new responsibilities. Asana, the way it works is you create a workspace for a particular project. And so say that maybe the project is event management. It gives you the option of downloading different apps that come with templates, that come with timelines and spreadsheets and things like that, so that you can, it's perfect if you don't know I need to do step 1 and then step 2 and then step 3 and step 4. So if you do know exactly what you're doing, then BaseCamp and Podio are great options because they operate on more of a checklist. So say that you need to get task A, task B, task C, and they have to go to different steps are. BaseCamp and Podio are both very intuitive, very user-friendly. Podio, I think, is free for 1 to 5 people. BaseCamp, there's a kind of a sliding charge based on the amount of people and the amount of projects and storage that you need. But there are tons of different options. And I think, with technology, the most important thing is to find something and invest in something that works the way you think and makes sense to you, so you don't have to rewire your procedures and your processes. And free trials. And if it doesn't make sense to you, if it doesn't feel right, if you can't get people to enter jobs correctly, then migrate to a different platform, because there's so many different options. There's so many different price points, ranging from free to, you know, $50 a month, that there's no reason for you to be stuck on something that doesn't work, because then you're not going to use it. And I would really, really, really stress to those of you who are team leaders, make sure that people are properly trained on the technology. You know, do the webinars, have somebody come in and do a demo, because it'll save you so much time and frustration moving forward. If there are any questions about project management or time management, some people are like, "Ooh, how do I know when I'm supposed to switch over to a new task?" I know writers who set egg timers, you know, very, very low tech solution. They'll just be like, okay, I'm only allowed to surf the web for 15 minutes. And then when it goes off, they move to something else. But if you have any questions about that, feel free to tweet at me. Feel free to enter those. The next section that I'm going to be talking about, the next bucket, as you will, are on the road. So these are some travel apps, some travel tools, some travel hacks. SATW, you guys are probably on the road a good portion of your time, unless you're an editor, and even then you may have to be traveling around. So, so here are some things that will help you stay organized and help you stay connected with your teams. Evernote, I'd be really curious if you are using Evernote, just let me know. Evernote is a really interesting tool. It's something that I think a lot of people adapted to early on and then just weren't quite sure how to integrate it, or they adapted it early on and now they use it for everything. It's a really interesting thing. You can think of it as kind of your personal digital notebook and file cabinet. But before I go into that, I want to jump back, because Barbara Ramsey-Orr is wondering a little bit more about how BaseCamp works. So Barbara, the way that BaseCamp works is you create a checklist. So say that I have somebody who needs to who bought an ad for a magazine or something. So, you know, step one is, you know, make sure they're on the flow chart for this issue, and I assign that to whoever has to do the flow chart, and I give them a deadline date. And then, you know, step two is collect the materials from the client by, you know, you can set the date, you can set who's responsible for collecting the client's information. Now, say I assign it to Emily. If Emily is not quite sure who the contact person is, she can then click, say, I have, you know, Barbara as the contact. Is Barbara really the contact, or is it Tim? And then I can put a response and be like, you know, it actually is Tim. And then we can follow that through. I can go in at any time and see if the things that I've assigned to Emily have been done. I can look and see what jobs have been assigned to me. I can create different projects. So maybe there's a live event, maybe there's a destination guide, maybe there's a drip marketing campaign. And I can assign different things to different people. At our publishing company, we actually use BaseCamp internally. So we publish show programs for different arts organizations. So we have different people outside of our office who are also uploading materials and things like that. BaseCamp also is a great place to kind of use in lieu of an FTP, where people are sharing files, or to kind of consolidate what would normally be on a Dropbox, because people can upload very large files and assign them to projects, or you know, put little labels on them. So if it's something that you're going to be reusing over and over again during the course of a campaign, it doesn't matter if you first uploaded it a year ago, you can search for the label and you can pull it back up. So I hope that clarifies things, Barbara, but that's basically how BaseCamp works. So now Evernote is very much like a digital file cabinet. So when you create a note, you actually put it in a folder. What makes it useful is I started using this when I was researching destinations. Like if there were, you know, maybe there were like web stories or interesting stories and things like that. And I just trying to make bookmarks on my web browser. It was too hard to kind of find all of the information when I wanted it. So I started to use, you can download a little widget for your web browser that allows you, if you're on a page, to just hit the little elephant icon and create a note for that that saves in your Evernote notebook. And then you can say which notebook it's for. On the PR side, if you're trying to get leads and you do a search for like people in ZoomInfo or something like that, you can actually clip that entire list and all of the hyperlinks will stay there, and you can save it in Evernote browser, save it in a folder for that campaign or for that particular task. What's really cool about Evernote is that it doesn't have to just be a web page. You can also jot down ideas. You can add images, you can add audio files, you can add videos. So it's a great way of, if you're doing a lot of research or if you have a lot of ideas for a creative campaign, of being able to just kind of put them in one place, no matter what medium they're in, and be able to access them quickly later. The 5 best Evernote tools, I think, for SATW are, it makes all the text and images searchable. So say that you're at a conference or you have a lot of client meetings and you collect a lot of business cards. You can snap pictures of those business cards, put them in Evernote, and then say that you remember what company the person was from, but you don't remember their name. You can search for the company and it'll pop up their business card. Evernote also can act like a Google Drive, and where you can share files, you can share folders. There's also a presentation mode. So like if you're working with an agency or working with a client, or if you want to pitch a multimedia story to an editor, you can push a button for the presentation mode and it'll all of a sudden incorporate all those videos, all those notes, all those web pages and everything into a presentation instead of you having to lay it out on PowerPoint. Now, the collaborative file sharing and the presentation mode, those are part of their paid service. If you have a business account, I believe that's $10 per user per month. If you're a personal user, it's $5 a month, so like $60 a year. It also allows you to create notes from your phone, from your browser, if you're wearing Google Glass. And then there's a lot of other cool stuff you can do. You can forward yourself emails and create to-do lists and use Evernote actually as a project management tool. You can edit PDFs and create signatures and mark up things while you're on the road using Sketch, which is... There's also a JotScript pen. So if you're somebody who still prefers putting pen to paper, but then you don't want to hassle with having to transcribe it, you can use the JotScript pen and it'll digitize your notes so that you might take your notes by hand, but it'll all of a sudden be in your Evernote notebook as a text file that you can then edit. You can also send invoices on the go, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different applications for it. Tripit.com is a lifesaver if you're on the road all the time, and especially if you have multiple people whose itineraries you're managing, or if you are receiving your travel arrangements from like at many different points. And so I know a lot of times when I go on a media trip, you know, I may get my shuttle information from one person and my flights from somebody else and my hotel confirmation from a third. You know, if you are bringing in a big trip of writers, you have multiple things. So Tripit.com is a fantastic way of creating itineraries. Why I love it is that when I get a confirmation, I can just forward it to plans@tripit.com, and because my email is synced, it automatically creates an itinerary. So anything else I send that has similar dates goes into that particular itinerary. And if it was just like an anecdotal note or an email or something, it becomes an unfiled note that I can go in and I can assign to different trips later. So Tripit.com is a lifesaver. You can share your itinerary. So if you need to share it with your husband or if you need to share it with your boss, it's very easy to share. You can also create an itinerary and send it to different people. So you can put all the travel arrangements for your writers up and then you can just send them the link where they have it. And what's fantastic is that Tripit is cross-platform. So you can actually access your agenda information, your itinerary information on your phone, on your tablet, on your Google Glass, like no matter what's connected to the internet or to a cell network, you can find it that way. So I've found that it's a fantastic tool both for managing my own travel and managing other people's. I used the free version for 2 years. The only reason to pay for the pro version is if you want the ability to get alerts if your flights are delayed, and get the option of being able to reschedule your flights from your phone or whatever other device you're on. darkskyApp.com, it's I think it's like $4, and I think it may still only be for iOS, but it's a fantastic tool for, like, if you're on location somewhere and you're wondering, oh my gosh, do I have time to get a shot? It looks like it's a little overcast, or do I have time to go for a quick run, or should I, maybe skip this outdoor venue and take my writers to an indoor place instead? Dark Sky app is fantastic because it not only tells you what the weather is going to be, but it also lets you know, okay, the rain is going to start in 4 minutes, it'll last for 22 minutes, and then it'll stop, and then it'll be clear the rest of the day. So it's phenomenal in terms of, figuring out when you should be outside or when you should be taking other people outside. Expensify.com is really, really handy for tracking receipts. What I do is you can photograph your receipts and it automatically creates an item. You decide what folder it needs to be in, and then you can export that as a spreadsheet or as a PDF, and all of the pictures you took of your receipts get automatically appended to that. It then tracks after you email it to the controller or to your client or to the editor. It tracks whether or not that has been reconciled and you've gotten your payment. So it's a lifesaver if you're always on the road, because a lot of times, you get the coffee in the airport and then you put the receipt somewhere, and then when you're back at your hotel room, you put it in a different place. And so it's phenomenal. It allows you just to take a picture of the receipt and then it automatically gets filed. So you don't have to worry about where it ended up. If you are, and the other thing about Expensify is that you can get an enterprise version for your company where all of your employees can be on it. So if you're with a PR agency or something, it's a great way of tracking that. I use just the app version, and I think it was like $5, and I'm using it for my taxes. Like, it's phenomenal. If you do lose a receipt, you can make one to replace it with AppStormLLC.com, and this is something that despite our best intentions, that hotel gift shop receipt got thrown away, or the cabbie ran out of paper, or somebody else had to split the restaurant bill and you didn't know about the receipt. So it's really, really great because it allows you to generate a receipt that looks just like a restaurant or a credit card or a taxi receipt, which you can then add onto your expense report. Exports it as like a PDF, I believe. But with great power comes great responsibility. So make sure that you're not lying. Just, if you need it, this is a great tool to replace things that you might have misplaced or lost. Some of you may have noticed at the beginning that I had a pair of Google Glass on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I do think it has some really great applications, especially for members of SATW, both on the PR side and on the writer side. I have a blog that I've been keeping to talk about my experiments with it. It's at travelswithglass.com. But it's fantastic for real-time reporting, for storytelling, for communication. And this is why. These are the 5 best tools I think it has for SATW members. First of all, it has the ability to capture images hands-free. And the images go, they sync with your Google Plus account so that you can go in every day and see what you've taken. If you have a blog, it actually has this really great feature called Auto Enhance. So if you're not having to share the images with anybody else, it's just for your own use. It makes incredible images, incredible storylines, incredible films automatically from the images that you're capturing. The images, and they need to not be altered in any way, shape, or form. You can take that enhance off of it and then submit it to the editors. And then not only are you able to capture pictures and videos instantly just by winking or by touching the glass, you also can share it on YouTube. You can upload it immediately. You can tweet it out. I would say when you're outdoors, the vocal recognition isn't 100% yet. So sometimes you might have to swipe very quickly and cancel it before you send something embarrassing out. But what's great is that, not only are you able to take pictures, but you can share it with your audiences immediately. So if you're on site reporting at something, it can go up. I like to use it at conferences to interview people and then upload directly to YouTube, or to take a site tour video of a hotel and upload it directly to the Plan Your Meetings channel. You can also, from a PR angle, leave little video and photo nuggets for people as they're visiting destinations that you're representing or for your clients. So a couple of really handy apps that you have that you can load on Google Glass to do this are Poster Boy, which are you upload pictures so you can stand and, you know, maybe there is this amazing hotel that just had this great renovation. You can take a picture, put a caption, upload it to Poster Boy, and then everybody who uses that app on Google sees that video, that picture postcard. Video Voyager is the exact same, but for videos. So you can leave video postcards at destinations that you're representing or things that you want to promote for other Glass users. I have it tied to my Evernote account because, like, the most useful tool for me as a writer, I have thoughts, I want to put them somewhere. I don't have a pen and paper handy. I'm like in the car or I'm running or I'm hanging out with my kid or whatever. I can, okay, Glass, take a note, and then send it to Evernote, and it's phenomenal. If you're on the road, you can also use it for workouts. They have a couple of different running apps. They have different workout apps. There are city tours that you can download. There are also things like Field Trip that will give you suggestions on things to see. So if you're somewhere you've never been before, you're thinking maybe I'd like to write a story about it, you can actually see what the notable attractions are, how far you are from them, get instant directions, hail a cab, do whatever. So I think the applications are really fantastic. It's just going to get cooler and cooler. Right now, the cost is about $1,500. It's open to anybody who wants to. I think it's just, you know, google.com/getglass is where you go to buy them. I did an Indiegogo campaign to raise funds for my pair. And Indiegogo is great because it doesn't matter how much money you raise, you get 100% of that, as opposed to a Kickstarter campaign where if you don't make your goal by a certain time, you don't get any of it. All right, so if you have questions about that, let me know. This is not like a website or an app, but this saves my life all the time on the road. And you don't have to get the MyCharge Peak 6000. This is just an example. This is the one that I use. But the reason why I use it is, see, it has like an old school Apple connection. So if I have like an old iPad or other Apple device that people need, I have that. There's also a USB so that I can attach a mini DVD. I can attach a mini DV, or I can attach like a lightning cable to it and charge up my new iPhone. It's got little things where I can charge it on my laptop. I can't charge my laptop, but I can use my laptop to charge it, or I can charge it in a wall socket. It only takes about 15 minutes to get to full power. It can charge my Google Glass. It can charge my kid's Android tablet. I found that it can take my phone from 0 power to 100% twice, and move my laptop up and recharge my Google Glass before I have to recharge it. So it has tremendous power. But any external battery, and a lot of times when you even go to like visit a destination, they'll just hand you one now. It's a very big, you know, gift item. But always, always, always have some extra power in your bag. I also, when I travel, have a power strip, because you only have like 2 outlets at an airport. But if you have a power strip, you make lots of friends and you keep powered. CocoonInnovations.com, you can get the Grid-It. You can also find them in like Maury Luggage and some other travel stores. This saves so much space in my bag because we all carry, you know, multiple devices now. So, you know, your laptop cable and your tablet charger and your phone charger and your headphones and your photo, you know, small camera or whatever. These are just a series of elastic bands. It allows you to organize your gear any way you need to organize it. And then you just slip it in. There's a little zippered pouch on the back. They range from like $15 to $30. They have different sizes. They can also hold your pens and your paper and your notes and your paints or whatever else you need to have. But I found that this is fantastic because when I travel, now I've got all of my tech stuff on the grid. I just take the grid, I throw it in my bag, and I'm ready to roll. So if you have questions about that, go ahead and let me know. I'm just going to check Twitter real quick and see if there's anybody that needed help that way. You can use the Q&A app if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the event page and see if anybody typed in anything. Okay. So I think we are ready to start talking about social media hacks. A lot of writers, this is an area where if they're not intuitively doing it, where they might start to feel a little intimidated, because it can feel like social media takes so much time. For those of you in PR, these are some things that you may be aware of. Maybe I'll be able to teach you some new tricks. The thing as a social media manager that saves me the most time is having an if this then that account. It's IFTTT.com. This allows you to create recipes. So for example, every time PYM Live sends a tweet, I want you to enter it into a Google spreadsheet. So if I post a picture to Instagram, then it will go out as a tweet on this network. And what this does is it allows you to kind of simplify your social media stream. So instead of having to remember, oh my goodness, I'm going to post it here, I also want it to go out here, you can go ahead and use an if this then that recipe to make sure that whenever you have a post go out on your blog, it also gets posted on Google+, or it goes to Instagram, or it goes to here, there, wherever. You know, if you get an important email from someone, if you start, it can go to your Evernote. As a social media moderator, I found it's most useful because we have to keep track of mentions of people. And so if this then that automatically tracks every single tweet I send out. It tracks every single person who follows me on Twitter, everybody who unfollows me, or this, that, or whatever. So if I ever need that information, I can just go in, or if my team members need to record what kind of interaction they got, they don't have to go in and type in exactly what they sent. It's right there. So you can link it with your editorial calendars and that kind of stuff. So it's incredibly, it saves so much time. LinkedIn.com, if you are a writer looking for particular editors, if you are a PR person looking for particular influentials, a little known secret is that if you're on your computer, your desktop browser, and you have to link in with someone, you have to justify how you know them. But if you connect with them mobilely, you don't have to justify anything. It just sends the request. So one of the best kept networking secrets is that anybody you anybody you want to connect with on LinkedIn, do it from your mobile device, do it from your tablet, because the app will allow you to connect with someone, whereas the desktop is going to screen you out. So yeah, what I've done is if I need to contact certain people, you can do a very, very, very specific search on LinkedIn too. So on your desktop browser, you can type in, you know, cruise line editors or magazines, or, you know, like event planners who do corporate meetings in New York City or whatever, and it can pop that up. And then you can save that search with your Evernote web clipper, save it to a folder for that project. And then you can go back in and use that Evernote thing to go ahead and connect with people mobilely. So it's phenomenal. HootSuite.com is, you know, there are a lot of other things that have come up like TweetDeck and blah, blah, blah. I really still think that Hootsuite is still the bomb in terms of managing multiple social networks. What gives it the advantage for people who are strapped for time is that it allows you to upload up to 50 messages, which can go out on your Google+, on your Instagram, on your blog, on, you know, Twitter, on Facebook, on whatever social network you have. You can go ahead and sit down on a Sunday and upload a spreadsheet, and then not buying that for a week. So you can upload up to 50. You can do it on multiple platforms. You can time delay. So I love it because not only does it allow you to schedule things or find the most optimal time to send things out for you, it also gives you really, really complex analytics. And you know, the cost of using some of these pro tools starts at like $5 a month. So our whole social team is on it for about $30 a month, but it scales depending on how many users you have. Another great tool, which you probably have noticed, it's kind of got like 3 squares stacked on top. It's Buffer. Buffer is an option that you get a lot of times when you want to share something. You can send it to your Buffer. If you guys haven't used that yet, what that is it just allows you, instead of sharing something immediately, it allows you to put it into your stream. And it actually is a tool on Buffer, if you're a big Buffer user, called Buffer Bulk that allows you to upload multiple messages and schedule them as well. If you're on the PR side and you're not quite sure who your influencers are, or if you're tracking a campaign and you just want to get some nice analytics, tweetreach.com is a phenomenal tool. This was our Atlantic City conference in this year for the Eastern and the Canadian chapters of SATW. And I think this report was $20 and I was able to get like all of the different tweets and when it happened. Otherwise you get just like the last 50. So $20 per campaign is really chump change in terms of finding out the exposure and the reach. And not only do you get the exposure and the reach, but if you scroll down a little further on these reports, it'll also tell you who got retweeted the most, who has the biggest following. So it really helps you, like, say that there is a specific group on Twitter that follows a hashtag that you want to target. You can do a tweet reach report for them and identify who the influencers are for your next campaign. As a writer, this is also very useful because if you have a hashtag that you use or that you identify with your blog or with your publication, you can do a tweet reach report and see how, if everything's being generated just by you, or if there are other people that you might be missing who you can engage. Because in today's marketplace, it's not about doing it all yourself. It's about the friends and how they can help you get there and how they can amplify your exposure. And more, editors want people with a social media following. They want to know what kind of influence you have. So as a freelancer, it's really great to know kind of how you rank on tweet reach, identifying a couple of different hashtags. And if you have no idea what a hashtag is kind of like a keyword, and you can use it on Twitter, you can use it on Facebook, you can use it on all sorts of different platforms for social media. And so anybody who's searching for that, little communities pop up around that. So if you've never explored that, I would recommend just like doing a search, or just noticing if you see a # with some letters behind it of people that you're following on social media, or things that pop up on a Facebook page, or you see them all over the place now. Just kind of click through and see, are they writers who are in your same kind of demographic? Are they sharing information that would be interesting to your readers? And start using hashtags, because then it's going to increase the exposure of what you're sharing. All right. So if you have questions, again, I just wanted to remind you, I realize it's a lot of information. I'm covering it incredibly quickly. So if you didn't have time to type in a question on the Q&A, or if you didn't have quite a time, or you're not quite sure what you wanted to ask, this is the beginning of the conversation. So even after the broadcast ends, or if you started watching this late and you're still catching up and we've gone off the air by the time you finish, don't worry about it, because you can contact me at any time. Just tweet at me, or you can post comments on this page after the event is over. Anytime you get an idea, just let me know, because this is for you. I want to help you guys out. I want to make sure you get the most out of this. So digital storytelling tools. More and more pitches that include multimedia are getting the attention of editors. And so it's really important that, for the freelance writers out there, even for the ones of you who are on staff, that you understand how to be a digital storyteller. And, I tell this to meeting planners who are about technology. You already have all the skills you need to be successful. You already are a fantastic storyteller. The act of telling the story doesn't change. It's just the platforms. We have more options. One of the platforms that you can use is called ScribbleLive.com. This is best for real-time reporting. If you have a website and you need to cover something immediately, what's really cool is that it tells you how many people are actually watching the stream. And if you're on the web page, it updates immediately without you having to refresh the page. And so you it's a combination of blog posts, of RSS feeds, of Twitter, of Instagram, of whatever kind of inputs you want to put into this ScribbleLive event. You can even have multiple contributors. So it's a really cool PR tool too. Like, for example, if you have a client who has an event, or a big media launch or something, you can embed this live on their website, and they can and people can tune in and kind of see what reactions are like in real time. So there is a free trial of this. and they recently bought CoverItLive.com, which was their biggest competitor. So ScribbleLive, CoverItLive, they basically allow you to go onto a dashboard, decide what you want to share with people, decide who's able to share with people, and then you can embed it on a website like a YouTube video. And then it gives you analytics about what people engaged with, what they saw, that kind of thing. I think it's probably, it's not an affordable tool for independent writers, but it's a great thing to kind of pitch to established titles or to clients. And if you want to maybe just do one just as a test, they do have a free trial. So I know I covered a whole conference using ScribbleLive.com just because we had like a 2-week free trial. So we had like 6 different reporters, and it was really cool. So another great tool for telling a story that incorporates lots of different mediums is Storify.com. So right after our Atlantic City conference, I actually created a story. I crowdsourced everything that people who were using the SATW AC hashtag were tweeting about or sharing or posting on Facebook or Instagram or online. And I created one big story that I could then share with our hosts and share with the people who weren't able to attend the conference. So if you go to Storify.com and then search for or just /PYM live, you can see how I use it. And it's really fantastic. And this is another reason why it's really good to kind of know who your target hashtags are. Because, you know, say that you've got, you know, like a new hotel opening up or something like that, or say that there's something big happening in that community and you want to put your mark on it, you can use the hashtag and just create a story about it. It's really, really fantastic. So this is a free tool. You don't have to pay for it. So again, this is something that's also very useful on the PR side. If you have clients and you're trying to create a report about content that was shared on different platforms, Storify allows you, rather than having to like cut and paste and take screenshots and blah, 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 it allows you to aggregate all of that, import it, put it in a nice little thing, and then add interstitial information. You know, this particular post reached X amount of people. It had, you know, 80% organic lift. It ran in this blah, 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 blah. So it's a really fantastic tool. I mentioned Google Hangouts before. The Hangouts on Air is what they call what we're doing right now. Because when you do a Hangout, it can be private. It can be a very intimate conversation that you have just with your 10 biggest fans. You can hang on there for, you know, an hour, and just as people drop out, there's another place for someone to jump in. Or you can broadcast to an unlimited number of people live. You can have a concert that you broadcast. You can you know, do a webinar for people. You can share your tips of the week and have a conversation with your readership. Fantastic, fantastic tool for webisodes, webinars, online talk shows, and it's free, at least for right now. If you need a catchy banner or a web page or a presentation or an e-brochure or infographics, Canva.com is free. If you need a logon, because I think it's still in beta, I actually have 5 invitations I can give away. So you can go ahead and just like post or message me or tweet at me, and I can get your email address and I can invite you in. So Canva.com. I use this for everything from really fancy name badges and, you know, allergy cards to takeaways for presentations. You can also use it to design your ebooks. So if you have, you know, you'll see there's a guide to our PYM Live innovations. If you have maybe a little guide to, you know, small towns outside of Toronto within an hour or whatever, you can create your own book and you can lay it out, and they have really, really beautiful layouts. Very clean, very modern, and you don't have to be a designer. Allows you to customize the colors, allows you to upload your own photographs. So it's a fantastic tool if something has to be done and you don't have a graphic designer on staff, or it needs to be done very quickly, or if you have to do it yourself. And then once you create those PDFs or those documents, if you need a place to host them, Issue.com is where it's a great option. We actually do the paid version for our publications, which is about $200 a year, because I wanted analytics and to see who's reading my publications. But you can use it for free, and you can upload your materials for free. So unless you have a client that you're trying to track, or unless you're trying to use it as a lead generation device, I don't think you really need to pay for the paid version. But they have an app. It works with Androids and iPhones. It works on desktops. Each publication gets an embed code, so you can pop it out and you can embed it on your website so people can see it. It flips through. It's really, I prefer this actually to digital turn page technology, just because I think it's better optimized for mobile viewing. But like anything that is a publication that is digitized, I think that we still have a long way to go in terms of true digital publications that are meant for digital viewing. In the meantime, don't pay somebody, $2,500 to set up your account, and then $250 per digital page hosting fee, and then $500 a month to host it. Just upload it to issue.com for free. And don't forget, Google Plus can be your secret weapon. The reason I say this is because everybody who follows you is influenced by you when they do a Google search, unless they are doing a search anonymously. So if you have a blog, if you have a client, if you have a website, if you have a publication that you want people to find, you have to be on Google Plus. I have 2,000 people who follow me. Anything that I've liked, anything that I've shared, anything that I've commented on influences what they see in their search results. Google also has a thing where they compare people who are like each other. So anybody who follows somebody like me is also going to see things that I've recommended in their Google stream above everything except for the paid advertisements. So Google Plus is your secret weapon. When you are sharing a link, you are telling Google, I want people to be able to find this information. And so it can be your secret weapon. Even if you're not like trying to actively engage people, just make sure that you're posting and sharing things that are important to you. Whew. That was a lot of information in a very little bit of time. If you want a copy of this presentation, I have several different versions for several different industries on slideshare.net/Kristi Casey Sanders. I will also upload this version for you guys later today. My personal Twitter is @Kristi Casey. And you can also, I'm the one that created the event. So from this event page, you can find me and you can send me questions or comments. I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing now so I can look at y'all in the face. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Hi, everybody. So let me know what you thought. If are there still some things that you had questions about that you need to be solved? Do you have questions about anything that we talked about? Are there specific things that you're struggling with that you might need a little bit more guidance on? Feel free to go ahead and type those into the Q&A box or tweet at me and just let me know. So I'm going to hang out for a little bit, and while I wait and see if you guys have active fingers and you have active things that you need to know, I'm just going to check Twitter really fast. And then I might sing you a little SATW song. All right, cool. And let me just refresh the event page and just make sure that sometimes when people can't get the Q&A app to work, they'll post in questions. All right, so I'm going to sing you a little song. And if you have anything that you want to ask before we end, then you can go ahead and ask it. Otherwise, I'll just make up a little song. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope now you can work more efficiently. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, jazz hands. Cool. All right, well, I'm Kristi Casey Sanders, and oh, and there's a comment. It's not a question, but Graham Bell says that he found the presentation very useful, and thank you for your time. Thank you so much, and I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving earlier this week, my Canadian friends. You're so polite. Awesome. Well, it's been my pleasure. Like I said, I'm also an SATW member, so if you have questions, if you're going to be in Atlanta anytime soon and you want to try on the glass, just let me know. And other than that, plan well and prosper, my friends. I'm going to sign off. Oh, Laurie Carter said, what a wealth of info. Thank you so much. You're welcome so much. And oh, Barbara does have a little thing of advice. So she is covering an important museum show opening next week. So can I recommend the best way to capture that and share it with my social media? She'll have her iPhone, iPad, and video capable camera. That's a really good question. Okay, so when I'm live on events, I share information on multiple platforms because I know that if I have a hashtag, and I hope you have a hashtag for your museum show opening, I can always aggregate it afterwards using Storify. So, for example, I will take video with my glass. You don't have that, but that doesn't matter because you can take video with your camera. You can take video with your iPad. I would make sure that you're logged into Twitter or your client's Twitter. And I would make sure you're logged into your client's Instagram account. And if they have a Vine account, make sure you're also connected to a Vine account. Now, a little secret, if you don't have an Instagram account or a Vine account yet, that doesn't mean you can't have one. You can tie them to, well, actually, Vine, you can just log in using Twitter. I think Instagram, same thing. It just creates a profile. If you don't have them, I would go ahead and create them. So if you post on Instagram, it'll instantly tweet out. If you want it to, you can do that, set it up on your mobile. So what's great about Instagram is that you can capture, I think it's like 15 seconds. And so you can take your phone and you can hold it, you hold down the button to record it, and then you can stop, and then you can shoot at a different camera angle and hold it down and then stop. And then shoot something else, like walk down the hall, shoot something else. And so you can get that all together in 15 seconds, or they may have even expanded it, but I think it's like 15 seconds. So that's a great way of sharing video on the fly. And then you just find different points and just set yourself, make yourself into like a little tripod and just capture just a couple of things at a time. So I normally, when I go into an event, I'll capture the setup because people love to see what it looks like before things happen. I wouldn't try and capture like full quotes or things like that. But it's best for kind of like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then it creates a video mosaic. So you post it to Instagram with a hashtag in the description. And then you can add other hashtags for different groups that you want to see that information. You can select send to Twitter, so it'll also tweet out for you. You can take pictures and tweet pictures. So I would do that and just like, you know, quick, so-and-so's addressing, blah, 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 picture, send it, hashtag. Oh, hey, did you know, blah, 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 attach picture, send hashtag. So you can send pictures on Twitter either from your camera roll that you've already taken. So you can preload some stuff that you know you definitely want to be sharing. You can do it on your iPad too. But it's just easier on your phone because it tends to it tends to just be in your hand all the time. And then, so you can have video interviews and things like that that you may have done beforehand. That can always be cobbled together into a YouTube video. But I would say, you know, and Vine creates a loop, so 6 seconds. So if there's something that's really cool, you know, people's faces or like really cool works of art, you can take like, you know, 1 second on each work of art that people are going to see. And send that to Vine, and then it just loops over and over and over again. It ties to your Twitter account. It also goes out on Twitter. You can hashtag it. And then what happens is after you've shared all this content on Instagram and Twitter and Vine, you know, and you can also upload things to Flickr or Picasa too. But I would focus just on Instagram. If something is going to be fun to watch over and over again, maybe captured on Vine. Otherwise, Instagram is fine because then people can see it. And then Twitter. And so Twitter for your pictures, Facebook for your pictures as well, because, you know, still most social. Download a little app called PicFrame. PicFrame, it's PICFRAME. PicFrame allows you to create a mosaic. So say you have several different pictures, none of them are really like that interesting, but together they look really cool. PicFrame allows you to create a frame, select which pictures from your picture roll that you want to add in there, and then you can add a title, and then you can save it to your phone, or you can upload it to Instagram, or you can share it on Twitter. You can do lots of different social sharing directly from that app. So that is a free app. And that's what I'd recommend. So best way to capture that and share it with my social media. So yeah, so for instant, I would just be taking pictures and sharing. And I wouldn't worry, because not everybody sees everything you share anything, but make sure you have a hashtag. Make sure you actually encourage other people. Like, I was at an event at the High Museum not so long ago, and they have a little place where people can take pictures of themselves, and then it says, hey, tweet your picture to blah, 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 use the hashtag, blah. And that's great, because now the marketing director can search for that hashtag and then create a presentation or a binder or reshare and repurpose that content. So that's the other thing too, Barbara, is don't forget, you're not the only person who's going to be creating content. If you have a hashtag, if you have it on signage, if you have, you know, you can even have, if you just search for Twitter wall, there's lots of different things that can actually search social media streams and pull up images and pictures from other people. So I would recommend having a monitor with like a spooling stream of what people are sharing based on that hashtag, next to a sign that says, be part of the conversation, tag your thoughts and tweets and pictures with hashtag blah, blah, blah. And that way, it's not just you. Now, everybody who comes to the museum can be a creator. You are aggregating the conversation so you can find it. And so every time you do a search, or if your assistants are doing searches, they can also be retweeting, they can be repurposing. There's also an Instagram app called Repost, I believe, or it's Insta Repost. And what that allows you to do is, if you are logged into Instagram and you like someone's picture, it allows you to then repost their picture on your Instagram feed. So that's a great tool too. So, you know, as easy as you can make it for people to share. So they're creating content, and so yes, you're creating content, but they're creating content too. I would capture with your video capable camera, or your iPhone or your iPad, short interviews and sound bites, people's reactions, what wowed them, maybe commentary, and then you can go back when you're in your office and you can create a YouTube video, and then make sure when you post your YouTube video that that you have links back to the museum, the hashtag, blah, 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 so that it's feeding traffic to that site. It's also with the hashtag to tie that whole community together. That was a really, really, really long answer, but thank you for the question. That was a great question. So cool. So if anybody has any questions like that they're curious, if they have a real life situation that they would like to know applications for, you can let me know, because not only am I an editor and I write, I also manage our social media teams and do some marketing. So I kind of can bridge both gaps. All right. I'm not seeing anything come up right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank you all very much for your time, and remind you that the conversation doesn't have to end here. Feel free to keep leaving comments on the event board, you know, asking me questions on Twitter. I'm in the SAT directory. You can look me up and send me an email if that's how you roll. So thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I am going to sign off now.